Opening and Introduction. Today, I will be presenting the pilot study for my research project. The topic of this pilot study is the impact of social media usage on university students' study habits. Social media has become an essential part of daily life, especially for university students. Platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, and X are not only used for entertainment, but also for communication and academic purposes. While social media provides convenience and quick access to information, it also raises concerns about distraction and reduced concentration during study time. Therefore, this pilot study was conducted to explore how social media usage influences students' study habits, particularly in terms of concentration, time management, and study routines. The pilot study also helps to test the suitability of the research method before conducting a full-scale study. Objectives of the pilot study. The pilot study has three main objectives. First, it aims to understand how frequently university students use social media on a daily basis, especially during study time. Second, the study seeks to explore students' perceptions of how social media affects their study habits, such as focus, productivity, and procrastination. Third, the pilot study is conducted to identify potential weaknesses in the research design, including the clarity of questionnaire questions and the effectiveness of data collection methods. This allows improvements to be made before the actual study is carried out. Overall, the pilot study serves as a small-scale test to evaluate both the research topic and the research method. Research method and procedures. In terms of research design, this pilot study adopted a quantitative approach using an online questionnaire. The questionnaire was distributed to a small group of university students through messaging applications and social media platforms. Participation was voluntary, and respondents came from different academic years and fields of study. The questionnaire consisted of three main sections. The first section focused on social media usage patterns, including the amount of time spent on social media each day and how often students check social media while studying. The second section examined students' study habits, such as the length of study sessions, frequency of distractions, and ability to concentrate during academic tasks. The third section asked students to reflect on their personal opinions regarding the impact of social media on their academic performance. This included both negative effects, such as distraction, and positive effects, such as academic communication and information sharing. The data collection process took approximately 1 week. Since this was a pilot study, the sample size was relatively small. However, the main purpose was not to generalize the findings, but to test the research instrument and identify potential issues. Main findings of the pilot study. Based on the responses collected, several key findings were identified. First, the results suggest that most students use social media frequently throughout the day, including during study sessions. Many respondents reported checking social media notifications while studying, even when they were aware that it disrupted their concentration. Second, a significant number of students indicated that social media negatively affects their ability to focus. Respondents mentioned that short breaks on social media often turn into longer periods of distraction, leading to procrastination and reduced study efficiency. However, the findings also show that social media is not entirely negative. Some students reported that social media can be useful for academic purposes, such as participating in group discussions, receiving announcements, and sharing study materials. This suggests that the impact of social media on study habits depends largely on how and why it is used, rather than simply the amount of time spent on it. Overall, the pilot study indicates that while social media offers academic benefits, excessive or uncontrolled use may have a negative impact on students' study habits. Discussion of findings. The findings of this pilot study are consistent with existing literature on social media and academic performance. Previous studies have suggested that frequent interruptions and multitasking can reduce concentration and learning efficiency. At the same time, the results highlight the importance of distinguishing between academic-related and non-academic social media use. Social media platforms can support learning when used intentionally, but they can also become a source of distraction when used without self-regulation. This pilot study therefore reinforces the idea that social media usage is a complex issue that requires a balanced perspective. The pilot study, there are several limitations. First, the sample size was small, which limits the generalizability of the findings. Second, the study relied on self-reported data, which may be influenced by personal bias or inaccurate estimation of social media usage. Finally, the study used only a questionnaire, which limits the depth of understanding of students' experiences. These limitations highlight the need for improvements in the main study. Suggested improvements for future research. Based on the pilot study, several improvements are suggested. First, the questionnaire should be revised to clearly differentiate between academic and non-academic social media activities. Second, a larger and more diverse sample should be used to improve the reliability of the findings. Third, future research could adopt a mixed method approach by combining questionnaires with interviews. This would allow researchers to explore students' experiences in greater depth. These improvements would strengthen the overall research design and provide more comprehensive insights. Conclusion. In conclusion, this pilot study explored the impact of social media usage on university students' study habits. The findings suggest that while social media can support academic communication, excessive use may negatively affect concentration and productivity. The pilot study also provided valuable insights into the strengths and weaknesses of the research method. By identifying areas for improvement, it lays a solid foundation for future research on this topic. Thank you for your attention.